Good morning, class. Good morning, class. I know everybody's really excited. Please take your seat, grab your coffee, grab your notes, take your seat, class. Please, please. Welcome to Wealth Creation College. It is I, your professor, Dr. Professor Geno. Dr. Professor, make sure you remember that. I worked really hard for, my SpongeBob knowledge to be able to be called Dr. Professor Geno. Today's topic of conversation, and what I mean by that is today's lecture, of course, because we are a university after all, Wealth Creation College, welcome, is you have to be smarter than your father. And yes, I do have a little notebook. See that? I write my stuff down. Wow, college. So you have to be smarter than your father. Dr. Professor Geno, what could you ever mean by that? Well, can you guess? Can you guess? Listen, guys. Listen, class. I know this is going to sound crazy to you, but the whole point of humanity, and certainly when it comes to finances, investment, and building businesses, generational wealth, is that you are better off than your forefathers. It's what every parent should want for their kids, for them to be better off, be it happier, healthier, more fulfilled, more joyful, wealthier, whatever those metrics might be. It's more important to be better than your father at them. Now, we have quite the juxtaposition here, Dr. Professor Geno, because it seems from what everyone's looking at that the previous generations are not doing that job, right? And all the older folks are kind of handing us somewhat of a rigged system where we get low-paying jobs to work crazy hours, to be very unhealthy with no work boundaries, and we can get annoyed from home, to then be able to afford no housing, only be able to rent, and we will work all of our lives to own nothing. And by the time we're 65, we will be quote unquote retired with nothing to our name. Yes, indeed, it does appear to be that way, wouldn't it, class? So we have to be better and smarter than our fathers now, despite the system that they're handing us. Just because it's harder to succeed in this world does not mean that it is impossible to succeed in this world. Remember your English language classes here. More difficult? Impossible. One takes more effort and you got to be smarter to achieve, but feasible nonetheless. And one is, literally impossible. So, how do we do that? Well, there's a massive number of tools, class, that you can use in order to achieve greater financial standing. Today, I'm going to talk more about financial standing, of course, with reference to this lecture. Wealth Creation College, that's what we dig into here. How are you going to be, from a wealth perspective, more successful than your father or more intelligent than your father? Well, you have to just be better than them. If they were partying at 20 and trying to do a bunch of stuff that was fun, but just found their first job that they liked, worked hard at it, got paid great, were able to afford a house quickly, wealth built through that, and they were able to take vacations and maybe throw in some money into stocks by the time they were 40, so that now that they're 65, stuff's going really well for them. Well, guess what? If they were investing in stocks at 40, that means you have to be investing in stocks at 20, right? And if they bought a house at 25, I understand that it is. I'm in San Diego, right? Dr. Professor Geno's in San Diego. It's almost impossible to afford a house over here. However, it eventually can be done. But even if that's in the future, it does not prevent you from making smart choices today, now, right? So it means investing. It means cutting costs where they're not needed. But more importantly than either of those things, it means being far more ambitious and creative in your earning potential than your father was. He went into a company and was happy to just kind of put in his time, if you will. Where have we heard that before? Everywhere. Sorry, I just like to answer my own questions. Sometimes it makes it a lot easier for me, as a doctor professor. So he just put in his time and got promoted after 5 years, 10 years, and climbed the corporate ladder until finally he's making stellar money at the top of the company. But that's also because that company was growing and he just kind of rode the wave up. I'm talking in San Diego, that could be Qualcomm, right? Or any of the defense contractors. Or if you were in the north of California, it could have been Apple or Google or Tesla or whoever some of these groups are, right? You have to be smarter. And that doesn't mean you have to go and invent something or start a company per se, but it does mean you can't just be content to stumble into a job getting out of college and assume that that's all going to go well for you. And now you can just hit cruise control and you get promoted when they decide. You make more money when they decide. You can take vacation when they decide. Are you seeing the pattern? The more you leave the decisions to other people, the worse your life is going to be with reference to wealth and finance, right? The less agency you have personally, go look that on your own time if you don't know what that word means, class. If you have less agency, that means you're going to be more reliant on other people dictating the pace. And spoiler alert, they are not out for your own benefit. Dr. Professor Geno, you cannot be serious. Other people in corporate America are not looking out for my interests? Sorry, guys, I don't know what you got told at your universities and colleges, but here at Wealth Creation College, I am not going to pull your leg, okay? Or pull wool over your eyes. I'm going to tell you how I see it and how I've learned, to achieve the prestigious title of Dr. Professor Geno, owner of a business, previous executive employee at a company, making great money, responsible for $50 to $100 million worth of a project. All those credentials aside, the point here being, I'm just trying to tell you what nobody actually told me when I was at USC, right? When I was at USC, nobody told me this stuff. Nobody explained it. I really wish somebody had. And that's why I'm here, actually explaining it and actually telling you guys how it is. So you got to be smarter than your father, okay? You have to be smarter than that generation. They didn't do us any favors setting the system up. However, as a byproduct of it in the digital age, it has never been easier to be smarter than the previous generation. We do have that going for us, guys. If you want to learn anything, a trade, a new skill, something to do, a new way to produce entertainment, it has never been easier. Think about that. With the internet, with the dissemination of information, you can now reach the world. Yes, you have to compete with the world, but at the same time, you can compete within a niche. You don't have to beat everybody at everything. You just have to beat some people at some things. Okay. Listen, guys, you just got to be better than your fathers. Find a way to do it. There's tons of stuff on my channel about it. I can help you guys through it. But with careers, it's just a super simple thing, right? Get your certifications, get more education, something that'll set you apart from everybody else. Jump around, apply to jobs consistently, no matter what. Get promotions that way, find new opportunities, continually try to take on more responsibility. And if you do that actively, within 10 years, you will be probably where your career would have been by 65, So you're starting at 20. If you do it the right way, by 30, you will be where you could have been at 65 by the time you're 30. You will have cut down and done in 10 years what you would have otherwise done in 45. I am dead serious. And I know this because I've done it, frankly. Dr. Professor Geno achieved a different position that most people couldn't get to in their entire careers. And I did it by 25, right? I think you guys can do it by 30. And I'm not smart. Lords, please. Dr. Professor Geno, not that smart. I am very stubborn. And I am very ambitious. So if that fits with you, welcome to Wealth Creation College. Go find something to do that's going to work to your benefit, okay? Be smarter than your fathers. And for extra credit, tell me down below whatever you guys think I should talk about next on my next lecture. Dr. Professor Geno out. Class dismissed.